Hello, welcome back to the land of Kakiak. My name is Laurel and I educate my three boys at home using the Robinson curriculum as the base of our education. I thought I would just share a little bit more of our ocean anatomy activities for kids. So the boys, this was just a weird week and we didn't get to our activity as scheduled. My oldest did the notebooking pages. He can do those on his own. My youngest didn't get any notebooking pages done at all. He was sick for like 2 days. And so today we are going to just do our activity that we didn't get to. Nobody got to it. And my oldest has some reading to catch up on. And then my middle, he is going to do the notebooking pages on his own. So I love the flexibility that homeschool gives us so we don't miss out on stuff. Last time we talked about ocean currents caused by the wind, and today we're going to talk about tides. Okay, so I'm going to read about tides to the boys, and then we'll do our, then we'll watch a video, and then we'll do our experiment. Tides. When we jump up in the air, the Earth's gravity brings us back down to the ground. Gravity is the invisible force created by the Earth that pulls objects towards its surface. The Earth's gravity is so strong that it keeps all the ocean's water from flowing out into space. And the moon. So when they're lined up like this on the same side, the Earth gets an extra gravitational pull in one direction, right? Okay. So Everett is actually going to be in charge of the activity today. So how does the moon's gravity affect the ocean sea level? How and why do the tides move? In this activity, you will create a simulation of how the moon's gravitational pull raises sea level and how it travels around the globe. So, took our magnets. We had to stack our magnets together to make it stronger, but you see how it's following, and that's exactly what the water does in the ocean, right? You see that? Will, can you describe how the force of the magnet on the paperclip is like the gravitational pull of the moon on the ocean?
Because the moon is pulling the water up with it, but there's also a high tide on the bottom.
You're right.
From the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the sides, it's low tide.
That's right. Very good. Okay. Reflect on your observations when using two magnets to represent the sun and the moon. If both the sun and the moon have a gravitational pull on the Earth, do you think their forces can combine to create a larger tide?
Yeah.
What do you think, Everett? What do you think? Yes? Yeah. Why? Yeah. But they have. What do you think? How do they have to be lined up? If they were on opposite sides of the Earth, they would be kind of diminishing each other. They're kind of be canceling each other out, right? How would you get a really high tide then?
From not on the opposite sides.
What is not on the opposite sides? Then they would be on the
high tide.
Same side. Right. So if the Earth and the moon were both lined up on the same side of the Earth, then there would be an extra high tide, right? On that side and on the opposite side, right? Because remember that video talked about how the water is like this on the Earth, and when there's, a body that's pulling the water and it gets oblong, right? Mm-hmm. It's oblong. Why might it be helpful to predict the change in tides in places like the Bay of Fundy? Why do we want to be able to predict the tides?
Because so people can know it too.
What do you think, Everett? It's true. If you bring all your stuff down to the beach and leave it, think you can leave and come back. What happens if the tide comes into all your stuff you left?
It just gets washed away.
Yes. Also, people like to know when it's low tide to go like clamming and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the fishermen and things need to know. And there's probably times when it's safer to be on the beach, right? Maybe during low tide is probably safer.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we go looking for all of our seashells, right? We wait till low tide.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, the conclusion says, the paper clips in this activity were attracted to the magnet similar to how the ocean waters are pulled by the gravity of the, what? You guys tell me.
Moon.
Yeah, the moon. What else?
The sun.
And the sun. Good.
And the earth.
No. I mean, the water's already attracted to the earth. That's why it stays on the earth, right? So it's actually more attracted, they didn't talk about this, but it's actually more attracted to the gravity of the earth than the sun or the moon, right? If the moon had a stronger pull on the oceans than the earth, what would happen?
All the water would be flying up.
Yeah, all the water flying up out into space, right?
And
then it would go all, it would get off of Earth and it would be all around the moon, right?
Yeah.
But the moon doesn't have enough mass, right? Earth has more mass than the moon, so we have more gravity, a stronger pull. Okay, so because the position of the Earth changes constantly in relationship to the sun and the moon, sea levels rise and fall periodically throughout the day. Because we can predict the position of the sun, moon, and Earth, we can predict the tides throughout the Earth. Yeah, does the moon, is it random? Do we not know where it's going to be at any moment? No. Because it's following a what? What's it called? What's this called? What's that called?
It's called
Everett?
orbiting.
Yeah, it's in an orbit. And so we know, and it's predictable, and it's always the same, right? It's just going around and around and around and around. And we are just going around and around and around and around the sun, right?
Yeah.
So we know this information. Okay, do you guys have any questions about tides? Anything that you want to research? Nothing you're curious about?
No.
You just want to play with those magnets now, don't you?
Yeah, I just like them.
Okay. Well, good job. We did our experiment or our activity, and now William's just going to catch up on some of his notebooking pages. So right now you're working on the anatomy of a fish, and we just picked out a few body parts for you to label, and you did. You put the numbers on there. Good job. And now you're just going to give me a little bit of color, right? Little color. Okay, good. Okay, so he'd buy luminescence. That's what he copied. I just wrote it for him. And Everett is snuggled up with the kitten reading a Rover Boys book. And I am going to work on a math workbook. So I'm going to get started on that. All right, happy homeschooling.